What's good? This is Yacob and Issachar creating my productions, coinciding in conjunction with HarmonicSalesBeats.com. All praises to the Most High. Another glorious and beautiful day. Hope everything is well, staying focused, staying efficient. Today I have a serious subject matter I want to be discussing with you all today, and this is in regards to what is money? What is money? So we're going to be defining specifically what money is, the understanding of finances, understanding the history, economics, and as well how this applies to you, because a lot of people have a vague idea when it comes to money. Something you pay your bills with, something you buy food with, something you just spend, when it goes much deeper than that. So we're going to be defining this today, and viewer discretion is advised if you don't like truth or you get offended easily by facts and history. So disclaimers there. So first things first, we're going to be defining what money is. So what is money? A means of paying for things. So a means for paying for things. So that's what money is, a means for paying for things. So look at this, a means for paying for things, right? Wealth, that's the second definition, wealth. Now we're going to be putting emphasis on wealth and what wealth is. And three, payment or financial gain. So you have basically three definitions. So something, basically a means of paying for things. Two, wealth. Three, payment or financial gain. So one thing I want to break down real quick is just the synonyms. That way you have a better understanding. Cash, hard cash, means, wherewithal, funds, capital, finances, notes, coins, chains, currency, dough, bread, dinero. So you have different synonyms for what finances are. But what we're going to be stressing today is wealth. What is wealth? Wealth, 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 wealth. Let's define it. Wealth. Wealth is what decides what you own and control. So when we go back to the definition, wealth is not riches, and riches is not wealth. How can I prove this? Very simple. Very simple. A man, say he has $1,000,000. You understand? He has $1,000,000. He has the instant gratification to go to nice clubs, spend his money, go out, buy food, spend all this money. Now, that's riches because he's accessible to spend it. You see what I'm saying? At will. Now, wealth is accumulated finances built up, per se, in a business. Now, I'm going to put more emphasis on this because let's identify who's really wealthy or not. You know what I'm saying? Say you have two billionaires. Now, let's look at who is rich and who's wealthy as of today, because riches are not forever. Say this rich man had, of course, $1,000,000,000, and he spent it on $1,000,000 a week on housing and plane tickets and food and club and do all over the place every week, going country to country, you know. And years pass on, he does not have that same money. He spent it. Opposed to this man who had $1,000,000,000, this man invested $5,000,000 in building a trust fund for children, building an organization that helps create new businesses, invested in real estate, invested in 20 apartment complexes, 3 hotels, a bus line. Who is really wealthy and who's rich? You know what I'm saying? You see the difference between wealth. This man's children, through that investment, is going to benefit off that. Opposed to this man who spent his money stupidity, is look out the wind. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand the difference between wealth and riches. You understand? Because wealth, we're going to be defining right now. So wealth is what decides what you control. So that's what wealth is. That decides what you own and control. Now, it also decides what free equal opportunity you will have in this society, because if you don't have wealth, how are you going to pay for things? You know what I'm saying? So watch this. Wealth is not income. Wealth is not income. Wealth is not income. Because income, everybody, is what you get to maintain you week to the other. So what you get week by week. Income is made and given to help maintain you from a week to another week. That's what income is. Don't get it confused with wealth. So in conclusion, wealth is surplus labor. So that's what wealth is, surplus labor. Now, we're going to be going into history today because we have to understand what wealth is, how this applies to the minority, the majority, those of ethnic background, those of a historical background in regards to slavery and colonization. So we're going to be identifying history, economics, aka slavery. So we're going to be breaking down some history today in regards to understanding the systematic oppression and the systematic ruling over of a specific people in this country. Now, this is facts. So-called blacks and Hispanics and Native Indians are the biggest consumer in America. When you look at statistics, the so-called Negro and Latino, we are the biggest consumer on the planet here in America. You know what I'm saying? And I put emphasis on it in the planet in America. That's why I put in America. That way you don't think I'm talking about all over the world. And probably so. But here in America, we are the biggest consumers, though own less than 0.5% of America's wealth. So think about that. The so-called Negro and Latino and Native American, although a lot do have money, a lot are very successful, we own less than 0.5% of this nation's wealth. 0.5. That's not even a 1%. That's 0.5. What's going on here? So we have to rehearse. We have to go back. Before civil rights and integration, what I want you to know, everybody, is that the so-called blacks and Latinos and Native Indians had made more than one half of this nation's wealth. So had more than one half of this nation's wealth before civil rights and integration. Black Wall Street. You understand? Understanding before the integration in this white-collar society, we actually had more resources, we had more financial backing, we had more community-based organizations that were bringing in revenue and building in the communities. Now, 99.1 half of this country's wealth has nothing to do with the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So looking before integration and after integration, as of 2016, 99.1 half of this country's wealth has nothing to do with the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. That just goes to show that something happened. Obviously. Now, a lot of people, when they're carnal mind, might say, "Oh, those so-called blacks and Hispanics, they're evil, they're drug dealers, they're pimps, they're whores." We know that. You understand? I don't approve of that wickedness. I don't approve of that wicked lifestyle. You understand? Cursed be the wicked of my people, man. Hope they repent. But guess what? There's a problem here because people are under the illusion that this just happened. Yeah, like oh yeah, you deserve to be in that condition. No, because we disobeyed the law of our fathers, and guess what? We went into so much filth that this was ordained to happen. But understanding how this happened through slavery, through chattel slavery, after the emancipation, how can a so-called black, Native American, or Hispanic be free when all the resources, no finances, no land, wasn't even in their possession or was deprived from them and robbed from them? But yet say nowadays, pick your boots up by your bootstrap and work. We're going to go into some history today. Okay. The Europeans came to this land, as you may know. They were funded to come to this land after the colonization. They were funded, given $1,000 and acres of land to dwell on stolen property. Okay? So, less than 5% of the so-called Negro and Latino work for themselves. Sound familiar? Before the emancipation, we had slave owners. Less than 5% of the so-called minority, which we're not the minority, we are the majority, don't work for ourselves. That's a problem. So obviously we're still working for somebody, aka slave labor. Now, you cannot be equal when the average European in this society has 3,500 times more wealth than the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American. So how can we be equal in a country that systematically, economically, financially, militarily eradicates where we stand as a people? How could we be equal when we don't even own our own distribution companies, produce water, produce clothing, produce food? We are the retailer. We're not the wholesaler. We're not the ones providing these resources. So obviously we have to make a decision and actionary steps to actually be that, which takes funding, which takes marketing, which takes planning, which takes organization, which takes much counsel and investment, you know? And a lot of so-called Negroes and Latinos are not ready for that. Sad to say. Sad to say, they're not ready to really understand that responsibility because they're too used to killing and lying and stealing and deceitful ways and pleasures and working these 9 to 5s, and that's why there's no respect for my people. That's why I'm labeled a spick. I'm labeled a wetback on my own land. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that means nothing. It's the actionary steps I take that's going to get my people out of this condition. Because first things first, I must take myself out of this condition mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. So the history of the emancipation, colonization, we are not in any case winning in this country. So that's history. Now we're gonna be touching you for a moment. You know what I'm saying? So we touched what wealth is, economics, history from 1492 to 1519 to 1618, all the way to 2016. Now we must examine you. You. You have been miseducated on what money is. You know what I'm saying? I think it's fiat money, credit cards, and debt. But have yet to realize that you cannot get equal rights in America if you do not control its financial stability. How can you get equal rights if you're not even managing over 5%? How can you manage anything? How can you control anything or be equal to anything in a country where you don't even own 0.5% over the financial wealth, the wealth here in America? How can you own anything and be a part of anything? How can you have any say in anything? That's the problem. Now, your opportunity in America is decided on what you own and control, which goes back to wealth. Your wealth is going to decide what you own and control in this country. But a lot of brothers and sisters have wealth. Doctors, physicians, prestigious men with houses and multi-million-dollar homes and real estates. But yet, a lot are not investing in their community properly. They're investing in organizations that are not even benefiting their own people, So, you cannot buy or go places if you don't have the money. You understand? You cannot do things if you don't have the finances to allow you to do it. You understand? So that's what wealth is. You need to have wealth. You need to have a form of money to do what you need to do. You understand? If you don't even have that, you have no power in this country. So you are not the supplier. You are the buyer in this country. That's a problem. We need to be able to integrate and coincide systems to where we buy amongst our own people. You understand? And even if these other nations support what we do, by all means, but this is not about that. This is about getting our people right first mentally and building our own systems, because we once had that. But the fact that we don't have that, we're more reluctant on these other nations. That's why the East Indians, the Chinese, the Arabians, the Africans, they come into the so-called Negro and Latino communities, and they tax us, man. They benefit off us, man. And guess what? Their money stays in their communities longer than we keep our money in our communities. You understand? So that's sad, man. That's sad that these other nations are benefiting off our finances. That's why their children go to college. That's why their children get a good education, have homes, have cars, have penthouses, have homes, have money. Why are people in the ghettos and the slums struggling, man? Can't even supply damn toilet paper. You understand? It's crazy, man. It's disgusting. So You have a social illusion of economic safety through television, what you don't even have ownership in. So that's what I trip about, is that you have a reluctant security in television, economics, politics, but yet you don't even have any ownership or rights to the leasing agreements or the royalties in that. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So now, you must try, or in this case, redistribute some wealth and resources within your community and family. That's the solution. This is the solution to our problem. We must take the wealth that we have, not be of a greedy and stingy and pathetic mind, not to help your own people, selfishness, and reinvest in our communities. How? Through products, through services, through import, through export, through real estate, land ownership, crop sales, produce, mental, herbs, education, physical, what else? Mental services, retail, wholesale. What else? What else? Affiliate marketing, beauty, clothing, merchandise, digital services, digital product services. So we must be able to integrate systems to profit, to create revenue, to create money. Because without money in this country, we are losing. You know? It's not about idolizing money. It's not about worshiping money. It's about investing this money properly. You know? Because sad to say, you know, a lot of our people, they're in poverty. And I'm not saying any other nation is in poverty. That's not what I'm saying either. Oh, and in conclusion, for what I'm bringing out right now, somebody might say, "Oh, you're racist, Yaakov. Oh yeah, you hate people. You hate other nations." It's impossible. Listen to what I'm saying. It's impossible for a so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American to be a racist. You understand? It's impossible. It's impossible. Because we did not go to another land and to another country and colonize them and take their land and continue to kill them in these streets and not give them any type of equal liberal rights according to a constitution. So everything that I'm going through, it's all reactive from my experiences. And that's what prejudice means. You know, people like to say you're prejudiced. Well, you prejudge. That's what that means. You prejudge. You know what I'm saying? You know, I have a microphone. I like this microphone better than my other microphone because the audio is much clearer and crisp. But the other one is more accessible and it's more digital, and I have more of a digital sound to it, so I like that one too. I was prejudiced there because I found more interest in this one, audio, and I found this one more convenient in usage. That was a prejudgment. So yes, I'm prejudiced, but I'm not racist, man. You know what I'm saying? I have more better things to do and important things to do than just hate. You understand? We got problems right now, everybody. So the conclusion of the whole matter is this. If you want to create revenue, create profit, create wealth, you must create services and products to gain the revenue first and invest effectively and start investing and branching out in different areas and avenues within a community of a market and a network and integrate systems. It's that simple. But it takes research, it takes studying, it takes application, it takes the resources, and guess what? The wherewithal of finances to do such a thing. So with that being said, I hope you learned something today. I hope you understand the importance of finances, the history of it, and how this applies to you. So with that being said, this is Yaakov Ben Issachar, Creative Mind Productions. Stay focused, stay efficient.